What an impossible task Emily Ratajkowski gave herself. It's admirable, really, her efforts to better understand the arcane, patriarchal, racist, capitalistic measurements of physical beauty that have allowed her to be famous and successful and rich. I know this sounds glib, but I promise you it's not. It would have been easier for her to have spent the 233 pages of her new essay collection, My Body, giving lip service to body positivity or taking control of your own narrative or objectification without grappling with a more complicated story. She could just enjoy her slender body and the career it afforded her without examining how she got here.
Instead, the essay collection, which comes out on November 9th, tries to make sense of her childhood, her work as a model, her value outside of her body, and the way men in and out of the entertainment industry have treated her. Honestly, the whole book is pretty depressing, a constant push-pull between Ratajkowski's self-awareness and the greater forces that commodified her. Yes, her beauty has made her successful, but it also means that she has rarely, if ever, had control over her public image and how people perceive her. If there's a question driving Ratajkowski's culture study into herself, it would be, did I have control over my own career and how I see myself? And I'm not sure she's found the answer.
Beauty was a way for me to be special, she writes in Beauty Lessons. When I was special, I felt my parents' love for me the most. But her relationship with her ailing mother, though clearly loving, is fraught because Ratajkowski has the kind of body that her mother, Kathleen, desired for herself. Kathleen encouraged Ratajkowski to defy school dress codes and taught her she was allowed to present her body however she wanted, a double-edged sword, for while her mom's body positivity was nurturing, her focus on Ratajkowski's physical appearance was sometimes overwhelming. Ratajkowski's clear writing does what you want it to do. It wrestles with what it means to be conventionally attractive, both the good and bad. I didn't have any real power as the naked girl dancing around in his music video, she writes. I was nothing more than the hired mannequin. It's the truth, and it feels like shit. In hindsight, Ratajkowski realizes that she didn't really have the control she thought she did. There is power in a woman's sexuality and in women using their sexuality as they see fit. But Ratajkowski is constantly taken advantage of by men who seem jealous of that. In my early 20s, it had never occurred to me that the women who gained their power from beauty were indebted to the men whose desire granted them that power in the first place, she writes. Those men were the ones in control, not the women the world fawned after. She relishes her body, but she also punishes it. Ratajkowski tells one story about meeting her agent and a few other models at a restaurant. Beforehand, she had pierced a new hole in her belt in order to cinch it tighter, so that everyone would be able to see, right away, how small my waist is. Later at home when she undresses, she sees red welts from the belt cutting into her flesh. There are also a few moments where Ratajkowski recognizes that her relationship with food is more fraught than it once was. In Buying Myself Back, a reprint of her viral New York Magazine essay from September 2020, she looks back at an old photo shoot she did. I'd been less concerned with my weight at the time of that shoot. Freer. I enjoyed food more and didn't think so much about the shape of my ass. But how to escape that loop? She's a model, after all. She knows the score, that there's a particular look that'll raise her profile. She worked hard for this life, and specifically, for this body. Is she going to give that up? Where Ratajkowski fails is in thinking more critically about her place in the world, in the continuum of women feeling bad about their bodies, being discriminated against for their bodies, being abused and assaulted for their bodies. There seems to be almost no recognition in her writing that her body is held up as a standard, not necessarily by her, but by other people intent on maintaining the beauty status quo, used to shame people who don't look like her. There's no overt recognition that her thinness, which she admits isn't a fun requirement of her job, is in some way a response to public pressure to be and stay thin. She's an able-bodied, thin, gender-conforming woman who has benefited from her body socially and financially, but she only vaguely acknowledges that she can be weaponized against other people without those privileges. The thing that she's trying to understand in a more holistic, Intersectional way is the very thing that has given her a good, comfortable life. I don't begrudge her those moments of low self-esteem or the individuals in her life who seem to think she's nothing but a body, but when taken in the larger context of fat-shaming and body discrimination, hers is an unfulfilling tale. She mentions these topics only sparingly, always from a great theoretical distance. And maybe that makes a lot of sense. She's not really the person you want to hear evangelize about experiences she hasn't had. But my body doesn't give us any way to move forward, any idea what to do with our punishing self-hatred or the way men profit from women's beauty. The book highlights the limits of this kind of self-awareness. You can analyze your experiences and the factors that led to your success, but then what? Would it mean turning down opportunities offered merely because of the privilege beauty brings? Knowing how the deck is stacked for or against you is one thing, doing something about it is another. In all fairness, few will read my body hoping it will solve society's body-shaming epidemic. There are people like Sonali Rashator or Aubrey Gordon who are better equipped to address that. But this bigger context is lacking in the book, and some hard questions go unasked. Many people benefit from the way their body looks. Plenty of us have at least a sliver of what Ratajkowski has, the luck of being considered attractive and charming. But what do we do with that? Few want to give up their privilege or the rewards that come with it, and few can relax enough to let their body exist without interference. Ratajkowski doesn't talk about allowing herself to gain weight or eat with full freedom, and that's no surprise. It would fundamentally change her career. Who is she, professionally, if not this body?
Thank you for watching. Please subscribe